May our Father, Messiah, and Holy Spirit be with us. For the reign of the heavens is like a man, a householder, who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the workers for a denarius a day, he sent them to his vineyard. And he went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said to them, "You too go into the vineyard, and whatever is right I shall give you." And they went. Having gone out again about the 6th and the 9th hour, he did likewise. And about the 11th hour, having gone out, he found others standing idle, and said to them, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" They said to him, "Because no one hired us." He said to them, "You too go into the vineyard, and whatever is right you shall receive." And when evening came, the master of the vineyard said to his manager, "Call the workers and pay them their wages, beginning with the last to the first." And when those came, who were hired about the 11th hour, they each received a denarius. And when the first came, they thought they would receive more, but they too received each a silver piece. And when they received it, they grumbled against the householder, saying, These last have worked only 1 hour, and you made them equal to us, who have borne the burden and the heat of the day." But he answering said to one of them, "Friend, I do you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for a denarius? Take yours and go. But I wish, this word, man. But I hope to give to this last man as I also to you. Is it not right for me to do what I hope with my own, or is your eye evil because I am good? Thus the last shall be first, and the first last. For many are called, but few are chosen. Amen. Facts. And Yeshua, going up to Jerusalem, took the 12 taught ones aside on the way, and said to them, "See, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Adam shall be delivered up to the chief priests and to the scribes, and they shall condemn him to death, and deliver him to the nations to mock and to flog and to impale. And the third day he shall be raised." Then the mother of the sons of Zabadi came to him with her sons, bowing down and making a request of him. And he said to her, What do you hope?" She said to him, "Command that these 2 sons of mine might sit, one on your right hand and the other on the left in your reign." But Yahushua answering said, "You do not know what you ask. Are you able to drink the cup that I am about to drink, and to be immersed with the immersion that I am immersed with?" They said to him, "We are able." And he said to them, "You shall indeed drink my cup, and you shall be immersed with the immersion that I am immersed with. But to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared by my Father." And when the 10 heard it, they were displeased at the 2 brothers. But Yahushua called them near and said, "You know that the rulers of the nations are masters over them, and those who are great exercise authority over them. But it shall not be so among you. But whoever hopes to become great among you, let him be your servant. And whoever hopes to be first among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Adam did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." And as they were leaving Jericho, a large crowd followed him. And see, 2 blind men sitting by the way, having heard that Yahushua was passing by, cried out, saying, "Have compassion on us, O Master, Son of David." And the crowd rebuked them, that they should be silent. But they cried out all the more, saying, "Have compassion on us, O Master, Son of David." And Yahushua stopped and called them and said, "What do you hope me to do for you?" They said to him, "Master, that our eyes be open." And having been moved with compassion, Yahushua touched their eyes, and immediately their eyes received sight, and they followed him. And when they came near to Jerusalem and came to Beth Phage at the Mount of Olives, then Yahushua sent 2 tall ones, saying to them, "Go into the villages opposite you, and straightway you shall find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Loosen them and bring them to me. And if anyone says whatever to you, you shall say, The master needs them, and immediately he shall send them." And all this took place that it might be filled what was spoken by the prophet, saying, "Say to the daughter to Sion, See, your sovereign is coming to you. Say to the daughter to Sion, See, your sovereign is coming to you, meek and sitting on a donkey, even a colt, the foal of a donkey." And the tall ones went, and having done as Yahushua ordered them, they brought the donkey and the colt, and laid their garments on them, and he sat on them. And most of the crowd spread their garments on the way, while others cut down branches from the trees and spread them on the way. And the crowds who went before and those who followed cried out, saying, Hoshaiah to the Son of David. Blessed is he who is coming in the name of our Father in heaven. Hoshaiah in the highest. And as he entered into Jerusalem, all the city was stirred, saying, "Who is this?" And the crowd said, "This is Yahushua, the prophet from from Nazareth of Galilee, and Yahushua went into the set apart place of Elohim, and drove out all those buying and selling in the set apart place, and overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. And he said to them, It has been written. And he said to them, It has been written, My house shall be called a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers. And blind and lame ones came to him in the set apart place, and he healed them. But when the chief priests and scribes saw the wonders which he did, and the children crying out in the set apart place and saying, Hoshana to the Son of David, they were greatly displeased. And he said said to him, Do you hear what these say? And Yahushua said to them, Yes. Have you never read, out of the mouth of babes and nurslings you have perfected praise? Amen. And having left them, he went out of the city to Beth Anya and spent the night there. And returning to the city early in the morning, he became hungry. And returning to the city early in the morning, he became hungry. And seeing a single fig tree by the way, he came to it and found naught on it but leaves, and said to it, Let no fruit grow on you ever again. And immediately the fig tree withered. And the tall ones, seeing it, marveled, saying, How did the fig tree wither so soon? And Yahushua answering said to them, Truly I say to you, if you have belief and do not doubt, you shall not only do what was done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, be removed and be thrown into the sea, it shall be done. And whatever you ask in prayer, believing, you shall receive. And when he had come into the set apart place, the chief priests and the elders of the people came to him as he was teaching, and said, By what authority are you doing these? And who gave you this authority? And Yahushua answering said to them, I shall ask you one question too, which if you answer me, I shall say to you, by what authority I do these. The immersion of Yohanan, where did it come from heaven or from men? So they received among themselves, saying, If we say from heaven, he shall say to us, Then why did you not believe him? But if we say from men, we fear the crowd, for all hold Yohanan as a prophet. And they answered Yahushua and said, We do not know. And he said to them, Neither do I say to you by what authority I do these. But what do you think? A man has 2 sons. And he came to the first and said, Son, go work today in my vineyard. And he answering said, I do not hope to do it. And he said, I do not hope to. But afterwards he repented and went. And having come to the second, he said similarly. And he answering said, I go, master. But he did not go. Which of the 2 did the desire of the Father? They said to him, the first. Yahushua said to them, Truly I say to you, that tax collectors and whores are entering to the reign of Elohim before you. For Yohanan came to you in the way of righteousness, and you did not believe him. But tax collectors and whores believed him. And when you saw it, you did not repent afterwards to believe him. Hear another parable. There was a certain man, a householder, who planted a vineyard and placed a hedge around it, and dug a winepress in it, and built a watchtower, and he leased it to farmers, and went abroad. And when the season of the fruits drew near, he sent his servants to the farmers to receive his fruit. And the farmers took his servants and beat one, and they killed one, and they stoned another. Again he sent other servants, more than the first, and they did likewise to them. And at last he sent his son to them, saying, They shall respect my son. But when the farmers saw the son, they said among themselves, This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and let us possess his inheritance. And they took him and threw him out of the vineyard and killed him. Therefore, when the master of the vineyard comes, what shall he do to those farmers? They said to him, Evil ones. He shall bring them to evil destruction, and lease the vineyard to other farmers, who shall give to him the fruits in their seasons. Yahushua said to them, Did you never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone? This was from our Father in heaven, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Because of this I say to you, the reign of Elohim shall be taken from you and given to a nation. Bring forth the fruits of it, and he who falls on this stone shall be broken, but on whomever it falls, he shall be pulverized. And the chief priests and Pharisees, having heard his parables, knew that he was speaking of them, and seeking to lay hands on him, they feared the crowds, seeing they held him to be a prophet. And Yahushua responded and spoke to them again by parables, and said, The reign of the heavens is like a man, a sovereign who made a wedding feast for his son, and sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding feast, but they would not come. Again he sent out other servants, saying, Say to those who are invited, See, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and fattened cattle are slaughtered, and all is ready. Come to the wedding feast. And they disregarded it and went their way. This went to his field, that went to his trade, and the rest, having seized his servants, insulted and killed them. But when the sovereign heard that he was wroth, and sent out his soldiers, destroyed those murderers, and and set their city on fire. Then he said to his servants, the wedding feast indeed is ready, but those who were invited were not worthy. Therefore go into the street corners, and as many as you find, invite to the wedding feast. And those servants went out into the street corners and gathered all whom they found, both wicked and good, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. And when the servant came into view the guests, he saw there a man who had not put on a wedding garment. And he said to him, Friend, how did you come in here not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then the servant said to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, take him away, and throw him out into the outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. Then the Pharisees went and plotted how to trap him in his words. And they sent to him their tall ones with the Herodians, saying, Teacher, we know that you are true, and teach the way of Elohim in truth, and it does not concern you about anyone, for you are not partial to any man. Then say to us, what do you think is right, to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But knowing their wickedness, Yahushua said, Why do you try me, you hypocrites? Show me the coin of the tax. And they brought him a denarius. And he said to them, Whose likeness and inscription is this? They said to him, Caesar's. And he said to them, Then give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to Elohim what is Elohim's. And having heard, they marveled and left him and went away. On that day, Sadducees, who say there is no resurrection, came to him and asked him, saying, Teacher, Moshe said that if anyone should die having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise offspring for his brother. And there were with us 7 brothers, and the first died after he had married, and having no children, left his wife to his brother. In the same way, the second also, and the third unto the 7th. And last of all, the woman died too at the resurrection. Then whose wife of the 7 shall she be? At the resurrection, then whose wife of the 7 shall she be? For all had her. And Yahushua answering said to them, You go astray, not knowing the scriptures. You go astray, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of Elohim. For in the resurrection they do not marry, nor are they given in marriage, but are as messengers. But are as messengers of Elohim in heaven. And concerning the resurrection of the dead, have you not read what was spoken to you by Elohim, saying, I am the Elohim of Abraham, and Elohim of Yitzchak, and Elohim of Jacob? Elohim is not the Elohim of the dead, but of the living. And when the crowds heard, they were astonished at his teachings. But the Pharisees, having heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, were gathered together. And one of them learned in the Torah, did question, trying him, saying, Teacher, which is the great command of the Torah? And Yahushua said to him, You shall love our Father in heaven, your Elohim, with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your mind. This is the first and great command, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Amen. On these 2 commands hang all the Torah and the prophets. Your neighbor is everybody else. The fatherless and the widows. Amen. On these 2 commands hang all the Torah and the prophets. Amen. And when the Pharisees were gathered together, Yahushua asked them, saying, What do you think concerning the Messiah? Whose son is he? They said to him, The son of David. He said to them, Then how does David in the Spirit call him master, saying, Our Father in heaven said to my master, Sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool of your feet. Amen. If then David calls him master, how is he his son? And no one was able to answer him a word. And from that day on, no one was bold enough to ask him any more questions. Then Yahushua spoke to the crowds and to his taught ones, saying, The scribes and the Pharisees sit on the seat of Moshe. Therefore, whatever they say to you to guard and do, but do not do according to the works, for they say and do not do. Facts. Amen. For they bind heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on men's shoulders, but with their finger they do not hope to move them. And they do all their works to be seen by men, and they make their tefillin. Let me see. Okay, I gotta look somewhere else. Tefillin wide and looking the tizit of their garments, and they love the best place at feasts, and the best seats in the congregation, and greetings in the marketplaces, and to be called by men, Rabbi, Rabbi. Yo, man, this is so facts. But you do not be called Rabbi, for one is your teacher, the Messiah, and you are all brothers. And do not call anyone on earth your father, for one is your Father, he who is in the heavens. Neither be called leaders, for one is your leader, the Messiah. Yo, they didn't read the book. Read the book, man. It just said right here, and the greetings in the marketplaces, and to be called by men rabbi, rabbi. That's what that's them guys, man. But you do not be called rabbi, for one is your teacher, the Messiah, and you are all brothers. And do not call anyone on earth your father, for one is your father, he who is in the heavens. Neither be called leaders, for one is your leader, the Messiah. But the greatest among you shall be your servant. And whoever exalts himself shall be humbled, and whoever humbles himself shall be exalted. But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you shut up the reign of the heavens before men, for you do not go in, nor do you allow those who are entering to go in. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you eat up widows' houses and for a show make long prayers. Because of this you shall receive greater judgment. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you go about the land and the sea to win one convert, and when he is won, you make him a son of Gehenna twofold more than yourselves. Sad. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, whoever swears by the dwelling place, it does not matter, but whoever swears by the gold of the dwelling place is bound by the oath. Fools and blind, for which is greater, the gold or the dwelling place that sets the gold apart? And whoever swears by the slaughter place, it does not matter, but whoever swears by the gift that is on it is bound by oath. Fools and blind, for which is greater, the gift or the slaughter place that sets the gift apart? He then who swears by the slaughter place swears by it and by all that is upon it. And he who swears by the dwelling place swears by it and by him who is dwelling in it. And he who swears by the heaven swears by the throne of Elohim and by him who is sitting upon it. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you tithe the mint and the anise and the cumin, and have neglected the weightier matters of the Torah, the right ruling and the compassion and the belief. These need to have been done without neglecting the others. Blind guys straining out a gnat and swallowing a camel. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are filled with plunder and unrighteousness. Blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, so that the outside of them becomes clean too. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you are like whitewashed tombs, with outwardly indeed. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly indeed look well, but inside are filled with dead men's bones and all uncleanness. So to you outwardly indeed appear righteous to men, but inside you are filled with hypocrisy and lawlessness. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets and decorate the mountains and decorate the monuments of the righteous, and say, if we had lived in the days of our fathers, we would not have taken part with them in the blood of the prophets. Thus you bear witness against yourselves that you are sons of those who did murder the prophets, and you fill up the measure of your fathers. Serpents, brood of adders, how would you escape the judgment of Gehenna? Because of this, see, I send you prophets and wise men and scholars of scripture. Some of them you shall kill and impale, and some of them you shall flog in your congregations and persecute from city to city, so that on you should come all the righteous blood shed on the earth, from the blood of righteous Habel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the dwelling place and the slaughter place. Surely I say to you, all this shall come upon this generation. Jerusalem, killing the prophets, and stoning those who are sent to her. How often I hoped to gather your children together, the way a hen gathers her chickens under her wings. But you would not. See, your house is left to you laid waste. Amen. For I say to you, from now on you shall by no means see me, until you say, blessed is he who is coming in the name of our Father in heaven. And going out, Yahushua went away from the set apart place, and his taught ones came near to point out to him the buildings of the set apart place. And Yahushua said to them, do you not see all these? Truly I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another at all, which shall not be thrown down. And as he sat on the Mount of Olives, we're going to finish this thing, Father willing. Yes, sir. And as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the tall ones came to him separately, saying, say to us, when shall this be? And what is the sign of your coming, and of the end of the age? And of the end of the age. And Yahushua answering said to them, take heed that no one lead you astray, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. And you shall begin to hear of fightings and reports of fightings. See that you are not troubled, for these have to take place, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and reign against reign, and there shall be scarcities of food, and deadly diseases, and earthquakes in places, and all these are the beginning of birth pains. Then they shall deliver you up to affliction and kill you, and you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many shall stumble, and they shall deliver up one another, and shall hate one another, and many false prophets shall rise up and lead many astray. And because of the increase in lawlessness, the love of many shall become cold. But he who shall have endured to the end shall be saved. And this good news of the reign shall be proclaimed in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end shall come. So when you see the abomination that lays waste, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, set up in the set apart place, he who reads, let him understand. Then let those who are in Yehuda flee to the mountains. Let him who was on the housetop not come down let him who was on the housetop not come down to take whatever out of his house. And let him who was in the field not turn back to regret his garments. And woe to those who are pregnant, to those who are nursing children in those days. And pray that your flight does not take place in winter or on the Sabbath. For then there shall be great distress, such as not been since the beginning of the world until this time. No, nor ever shall be. And if those days were not shortened, our Father in heaven loves us. Look at this. And if those days were not shortened, no flesh will be saved. But for the sake of the chosen ones, those days shall be shortened. Blessing. Our Father in heaven loves us. Okay, I don't gotta stop it again yet. And if those days were not shortened, no flesh will be saved. But for the sake of the chosen ones, those days shall be shortened. If anyone then says to you, look, here's the Messiah, or there, do not believe, for false messiahs and false prophets shall arise, and they shall show great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the chosen ones. See, I have forewarned you. So if they say to you, look, he is in the desert, do not go out, or look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines to the west, so also shall the coming of the Son of Adam be. For wherever the dead body is, there the vultures shall be gathered together. And immediately after the distress of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from the heaven. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, and then the sign of the Son of Adam shall appear in the heaven. And then all the tribes of the earth shall mourn, and they shall see the Son of Adam coming on the clouds of the heaven with power and much esteem. And he shall send his messengers with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his chosen ones from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. And learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and put forth leaves, you know that the summer is near. So you also, when you see all these, know that he is near at the doors. Truly I say to you, this generation shall by no means pass away until all this takes place. The heaven and the earth shall pass away, but my words shall by no means pass away. But concerning that day and the hour, no one knows, not even the messengers of the heavens, but my Father only. And as the days of Noah, so also shall the coming of the Son of Adam be. For as they were in the days before the flood, eating and drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and they did not know until the flood came and took them all away. So also shall the coming of the Son of Adam be. Then the two shall be in the field, the one is taken and the one is left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, one is taken and one is left. And I understand this right here, because I know a lot of people may tie this back to the so-called rapture. It never specifically says anything about the rapture. So understand that, brothers and sisters. You need to have more understanding of these things. Be humble. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, one is taken and one is left. Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your master is coming. And know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Because of this, be ready too, for the Son of Adam is coming at an hour when you do not expect him. Who then is a trustworthy and wise servant, whom his master set over his household to give them food in season? Blessed is that servant whom his master, having come, shall find so doing. Truly I say to you that he shall set him over all his possessions. But if that evil servant says in his heart, my master is delaying his coming, and begins to beat his fellow servants and to eat and drink with the drunkards, the master of that servant shall come on a day when he does not expect it, and at an hour he does not know, and shall cut him in two, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I'm gonna stop and start it again.